Rugby se toekoms verseker as een van die mees welgestelde unies in Suid-Afrika.
Craig.
Yes, sorry. Two questions, one for Rian, one for Danny. Rian, just even if Wynand withdrew the application tomorrow, I think there's a horse not bolted because now it's a public participation process already. How do you understand that working? And Danny, for you, we say the 102 clubs are in support, but I know from articles I've written and the response I've got, there's clearly not all the clubs are in support because the kind of abuse are taken around them. So can you just clarify that position as well?
The support, the clubs, if you go to our records, it was passed by the General Council, that says support.
Unanimously.
Yes, and so therefore, with regard to what information you're sitting with, it's not necessary the issue around the selling of Newlands or moving to Cape Town Stadium. There are other factors that's driving those processes. But when it comes to moving to the selling of Newlands and properties, that decision has been taken, and that's why we got a bond with Flight. And that's why we engage with Investec, and Investec gave us 110 million or something then. So with regard to that component, I can't see where there's all of a sudden the clubs are distancing themselves from that, because they cannot, and they did not as such.
Yeah, I think to be clear that I think they're unhappy about the RFP process and who it's going to be sold, is the way I understand some of the comments on that.
Yeah, but that is a matter that will go back to the council once we've finalized the heritage application and we have a firm offer on the table. It will go to Rugby. Rugby will take it to the General Council of Western Province Rugby, then decision will be made. Yes, there's certain factions within the clubs that's unhappy about the process, but you know what? This is the only way that we could have ensured a fair process of the sale of Newlands. Now, all the rumors that were going around that somebody's going to benefit, you know what, this is the way to fix it, to get independent people to drive the process, to come up with a proposal, to take it to the FinCom of SA Rugby, for them to interrogate it, and for them then to go to council, explain the deal on the table and take it from there. With regard to your issue about the heritage again, if I understand you correctly, so there's one other thing that worries me from the heritage side. This is not something new, the sale of Newlands. Yeah. This is not something that just happened a few months ago. As Danny said, this was public knowledge for years. Why wait until Western Province is in such a position that they are in now to start your heritage application? That also is an uncertainty for me. The fact that it is now public participation, that is true. We can't do anything about it. As I said, our legal advice that we got was that there is no grounds for it to be declared a heritage site. So we have to go through the process. So everybody, the clubs, all must be part of the public participation process to ensure that their voice is heard. We cannot allow a few disgruntled rugby supporters that like to go to Newlands are the only voices that's speaking for us as a community. That's a very small little grouping. You know, I know Wynand Claassen went so far to write letters to get support from all the Springbok captains, and I know 3 of the captains in the last few years all said you're wrong. We turned down. We're not going to be part of your process. So this feels to me that that's enough. So thank you.
Kevin.
I was just going to say, there's just something that maybe Rian or Danny, just like going back. I mean, there were reasons why you needed to move away from Newlands. I mean, 2009 Lions Tour, there wasn't a test played there for good reasons. It wasn't suitable for the World Cup slots and a FIFA World Cup for good reasons. And maybe remind us of those. Because, I mean, we couldn't carry on at Newlands for good reasons.
No, that's true. We needed a major revamp. And in 2011, 2012, PwC did a project for us with regard to what will it cost us to remain at Newlands. So based on those discounts, it was then already 150 million, just to do the minimum upgrades to get it into what seemed to be a good, fair stadium. But that's 12 years ago. So if you obviously discount it to today, it's most probably 300 million, you know, that kind of thing. So it's obvious that whilst, as Dobson says, we all have fond memories of Newlands, even my side of the line. But we cannot deny progress, and we cannot deny the fact that we have made the decision to play in Cape Town and at the DHL Stadium, and that's now the home of Storm and Western Province Rugby.
Just like to add to that quickly, sorry. When we did the bid for the Rugby World Cup 2023, when was that, 5 years ago, then already Newlands didn't subscribe to the minimum standards as put forward by World Rugby. That's why at that stage already, Western Province was removed and wouldn't have been a venue if we were successful. So it's a thing that didn't happen overnight. This is a thing that's come a long way, where to get Newlands back up to a standard where they need to be is going to cost a heck of a lot of money, which they didn't have at the time.
Stephen.
Just two questions. The first is, do you think that there's a commercial motive to what is being done in terms of the heritage application? I mean, I know the company, a non-profit, I think Newlands International Museum or something like that was registered. And then, just secondly, are you prepared to go to court?
We will have to. We will have to. We cannot allow this thing to go through. We have to use whatever we can to make sure that we secure the future of Western Province Rugby Football Union. On the financial model, I don't know what Wynand's financial model is. I do not know. So yes, okay, now it's a heritage site. It's still, as I said, still Western Province's property. Now what are we going to do? Build a museum? Who's going to pay for the museum? Number one. And we all know what happens with museums. SRF, we had the most fantastic museum here at the waterfront. They couldn't afford to continue paying for it. So, realistically, gents, how are you going to change that into a museum? What money is going to, who's going to pay for it? Who's going to fund it? Because I can guarantee you, it's not going to be Western Province Rugby Football Union.
So in terms of legal, I mean, if the heritage thing goes against you, will you interdict or will you approach it, or are you going to even receive?
There is an appeal process that you appeal to the Western Cape government, which we will follow, and then we will have to see what other legal routes we have to follow. But I really hope it doesn't go that way. I really hope that if the rugby public understands the consequences of this decision, their participation in the process will ensure that it does not become a heritage site.
Could I add something to that? I didn't express myself well when I went to that esoteric talk about the past. The heritage is, the most important thing is that rugby continues and thrives. You can't tell there's one rugby supporter of any background, the background Danny is talking about, who doesn't want to see a successful Storm as a Western Province team playing to crowds. That's the most important thing for rugby, that it survives all this. And honestly, if we went, and we've heard this sort of threat for 20 years in the Western Province to become another Kings or anything like that, if you can tell me that's what's in the interest of rugby or heritage or the heritage of rugby, all this past I've talked, it's absolute hogwash. It is critical for rugby to survive that this doesn't go through, and what we all want in this of the rugby in this region. And that's the heritage.
Guys, we'll have last questions. Jan,
my question is
are you
just
happy?
asked
So we've
by-
got Justin and Craig, and we can end up here.
Rian, just for you, maybe we can just first things. Would there be any recourse for Bernard? Should his heritage claim fail? Would you have any chance of suing him for delaying your process and incurring additional costs in terms of implicit
Unfortunately, not. He is entitled. He's entitled to have a position on it, and he's entitled to ask for a heritage application. So it's a thing that we have to go through. Again, it's a legal issue that I might have to take up. Thanks for alluding me to that. So I might phone my lawyer now when I walk out to start investigating that.
All right, we'll end with Craig. Thanks, Craig.
Sorry, as a rule, like comment on that. I mean, I don't understand. Up until recently, Western Province was playing rugby. It wasn't a heritage site or a museum. It was a rugby stadium, a sports facility. How can a sports facility go from being a sports facility to a heritage site overnight? I mean, legally, what are your lawyers saying about that?
Well, if you look at the opinion, and then we will make it available, Mike, if you guys are interested in it, in the summary of our legal opinion, you will see very clearly that they go through all these aspects that we mentioned now, and they come to exactly the same conclusion. As I said, maybe nostalgia is the only thing that you can base it on. Again, this is not the first time this has happened in sport in the world. You know, we talk about Arsenal that moved from, is it Anfield?
Highbury.
That's Liverpool, so you must know about this.
Highbury to Arsenal.
So nobody stopped that process and said, this is now a heritage site, you're not allowed to knock it down. And you know, there's ways and means you can deal with that. And in America, every so many years they move from facilities to modernize and keep modern. Now, do we really want to keep on playing in an antiquated stadium, which we can't do legally anymore? So yeah, you're right. It doesn't make any sense.
All right, thank you very much, everyone. As we said, the next step is the public participation process, and we'd appreciate the help of the media getting the word out about that. Thanks so much.
Participate in the public participation process, because I haven't seen
We will.
anything on Heritage Western Cape's website.
There is a website that you have to visit, and then you can give your opinion there. I will get Mike to forward that
Sure,
to you
and
guys
if
as
any
well.
of you need the heritage report that we've got, please let me know, I'll be happy to share it.
Yes, please, Michael.
Cool. We'll see you at 2 o'clock for the Stormers press conference.
Okay, me and Danny won't be there to
Yeah.
take up more of your time. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yes, thanks. He played a Currie Cup semi-final, yeah, he got a hiding, in the final, they got a hiding in 84, and maybe one test. What's the
Last time?
It was first day, it was his debut test.
Ireland,
Ireland, yeah.